The most in-demand, exciting, famous battles in the sport of weightlifting currently lie in the 89 kilo category, and for good reason.
He's got it, he's got it!
Karlos Nasar, 3 for 3.
We have a snatch world record holder, a clean and jerk world record holder, another clean and jerk world record holder, an ex-clean and jerk world record holder, multiple additional world champions, and on April 6th, they will all go head-to-head at the last chance Olympic qualifier in Thailand, the IWF World Cup, to determine finally who will be selected for the Olympic Games this summer. What makes this battle even more electrifying is that we haven't ever seen Karlos Nasar compete against either Dayin or Tian Tao. It's a match made in heaven, and it's all available to watch live at Weightlifting House TV. Link below. The first qualifying event was interesting. Dayin was still an 81 kilo athlete and became world champion, finally. Tian Tao was a 96 and hadn't returned back to competition, and Karlos Nasar, well, he missed all of his snatches and then set a world record in the clean and jerk at 220 kilos. And so we were left with the logical winner, a man who has been in the medals for years, Keydomar Vallenilla from Venezuela. But the top three guys, Dayin, Karlos Nasar and Tian Tao, all remained unranked in the 89s, and they didn't want to be forgotten, so they got to work. At the following Continental Championships in April and May 2023, all three of them would compete, all three setting new world records. First up was Bulgaria's teenage sensation, Karlos Nasar, who, in Yerevan 2023, set another world record clean and jerk at 221 kilos, as well as a world record total of 395. That would move him 10 kilos ahead of the current world number one, Keydomar Vallenilla. But then he spiraled. At first it was a torn Achilles, an injury so dire it was believed that not only would it take well over a year to recover from, it was highly possible that he'd never even return to weightlifting. And then secondly, the two Chinese world record holders went to town at the Asian Championships. It's worth taking a quick breather to remind you that China can send at most 189. And it's possible that they would send neither, if, for example, they went with a 61, 73 and 102 as their chosen Olympic categories. So the battle between Tian Tao and Dayin was and still is, even more than ever, absolutely massive. Both missed out on the last Olympic Games, and neither wants a repeat situation. So during those snatches, Dayin snatched 180 kilos, a world record, a weight still not surpassed in this category, though it has been equalled, more on that later. In the clean and jerk, knowing that beating Tian Tao would not be enough, he needs to be number one in the world to be selected by China, he opted to take 216 kilos, a weight which, when combined with the 180 kilo snatch, would put him at 396 kilos in the total. He made it, a new world record total and the world number one spot, ahead of Karlos Nasar.
A new world record in the total.
But though his snatches weren't there on that day, Tian Tao set a clean and jerk world record at 222 kilos, now owning two world records in two different categories, and totally erasing Karlos from the 89 kilo record books. Karlos Nasar was in a bad place.
Oh my word, I think he's going to do it. He is going to do it. Tian Tao wipes Karlos Nasar off the record books.
But when he showed up at the World Championships later that year, his Achilles injury was almost entirely recovered. Though he didn't compete, his training lifts looked almost back to normal. And so it was time for the second World Championships of the qualifying period, the 2023 World Champs in Riyadh. And again something strange happened. Neither Karlos, who didn't lift, nor Tian Tao nor Dayin won. In fact, the two Chinese athletes lifted poorly. Instead, it was Iran's Mostafa Javadi, who, by the way, took the silver as an 81 kilo lifter back in 2021 against Karlos Nasar, and he ended up winning here. His 215 kilo clean and jerk was masterful and showed the supposed top three who they were really dealing with. We'll come back to Karlos, Tian and Dayin shortly, but first let's take a look at more of those other athletes who've shown incredible performances recently. Along with Mostafa Javadi and Keydomar Vallenilla, we also have athletes like Yeison Lopez and Antonino Pizzolato. Nino, an Olympic medalist and ex-world record holder, returned to competition recently and has shown off some remarkable strength. In fact, at his most recent competition, the European weightlifting champs in Karlos's home city of Sofia, he cleaned 222 kilos. And let's be honest, he made it look easier than Karlos has ever made that sort of weight look. And then there's Colombia's Yeison Lopez, a man who, after serving a ban, has returned to competition and somehow remained relatively under the radar, despite moving ahead of all but Dayin and Karlos Nasar. I mean, he's ahead of Tian Tao. His 180 kilo snatch from Doha equaled Dayin's. A note to all that he's ready to take it in Thailand. Back to Dayin and Tian Tao. Both have only competed once since the World Champs in 2023, and it was at the Asian Games. There was no 89 kilo category there, and so both competed as very light 96s. Tian Tao this time took the gold, snatching 180 kilos, equaling Dayin's 89 kilo world record. But Dayin performed poorly. And since then, having seen them train but not compete in Doha at the Grand Prix last December, we haven't seen them lift heavy. They skipped the Asian Championships in Uzbekistan, planning in Thailand on April 6th on lifting as heavy as possible, setting world records, defeating Karlos Nasar, doing whatever they need to do to prove to the Chinese coaching staff that one of them should be chosen for the Olympic Games. Karlos, on the other hand, will try to stop them. His momentum looks greater than theirs, having set a world record clean and jerk again at 223 kilos in Doha, and then winning with apparent ease another European Championships with a personal best 176 kilo snatch and an easy 215 kilo clean and jerk. If there's one thing we know about Karlos, it's that he loves a fight, and so knowing that the two Chinese athletes are there to beat him, this battle will be truly extraordinary.
Made the clean.
Good clean.
He's got the jerk. He may have just solidified the win there. That's a huge lead he has now.
But there's more. Athletes like Marin Robu, Andranik Karapetyan, and Petr Asayanak will have to hold on to their 8th, 9th and 10th Olympic ranking positions, with the trailing athletes all looking to take their Paris invitations. Weightlifters like Canada's Bodhi Santavi, the USA's Nathan Damrell, among others, all look to get back into the top 10 where they once resided. So don't miss it. The whole competition will be streamed at Weightlifting House TV from March 31st to April 11th. You also get access to dozens of training videos with all of the athletes mentioned in this video. Links down below.